Hello, the English speakers, and you recognize the red berries from the Rowan. That can also be called a mountain ash, but if you look a little bit about the tree, that's about as high as they can become compared to the totally different, much higher aspens, and they are still not big. A mountain ash, not those, can become 96 meters. So I will enlighten your blind spots about trees. And first, some affirmations and banking blind spots that I think way too many people have. But let's start by taking a big, deep aspen. Big aspen breath. All the cars are annoying me more than the little bit snow that we are getting now. So let's talk about affirmations that you didn't intend to use as affirmations. The idea with affirmation is that you say something over and over again. I'm a great person, I will become greater, or something more specific, and then you focus your mind and maybe the entire universe into becoming that thing that you are repeating. But if you have a slogan, like we need better fighters, that is something that Democrats in USA are saying. The Republicans are saying make America great again and America first, for example, and you can repeat that over and over again, and you think about that. So when you think this sounds good, but it's not America first, so let's not let's explore the arguments against it, etc. And we saw even Soran Mamdani that usually says good things like affordability, we need to make things affordable. That's great. That's not something you can argue with, and even if he doesn't mean it, this will work like an affirmation in the entire society. So that's why it's so important, way more important than you think, to have the right words. So one example how you can do it wrong: don't be evil. That was the slogan for Google. What have I said about not? Never not do that. So they are thinking evil. What is evil? Oh yeah, we shouldn't do that. And sometimes they tend to forget that not. And then Google turned into doing a lot of evil and realized that that was a bad slogan. I was a stock owner in a company that had the slogan, less trouble. No, you don't want to hire someone that is promising less trouble. That was the worst slogan ever. So they stopped with that slogan, but it didn't go well using it. And another example is the network is the computer. So that was the slogan from Sun Microsystem, and then they networked so hard that they got bought by Oracle and turned into shit and dissolved. So I will enlighten your blind spot. That's something I can say over and over again, and you get fewer and fewer blind spots, and you know about stuff. I also thought about, you remember what we need to remove. All these unholy narratives, remove climate grifters, vaccine murderers, Zionist genociders, and usury. But you can't, if you go around just cleaning up, you have to combine it with something. So I thought about RIB. So it's remove, invent, and build. So you can, first you clean it up, and then you invent new stuff, and you build it, and then you have to clean it up again, and then you invent and you build. So that's today's ideas about slogans and stuff. Use the right words. So you might think that this Douglas fir that I talked about, it can be 120 meters, they say. There is no known tree that is that big, but there is one that is 99.5 meters, and there is, however, a Sitka spruce that is 102 meters high, so it's more than half a meter taller. But I mean, look at these trees, and even the high trees, hardly more than, I don't know, is it even 30 meters, 25 meters, and then you imagine a 100-meter tree. They are tall compared to the tallest tree in Sweden is a little bit over 50 meters, so double that height, but they need to live in a very foggy kind of special climate to reach those heights. Very weird that they can do this. But the Sitka spruce, that's a true spruce, so just like the Swedish Norwegian spruce. So it's a picea. But the Douglas fir, it's actually not a spruce, and it's not a fir, and it's not a tsuga, it's a pseudotsuga. They are all conifers. We call them needle trees, as in the kind of leaf that they have, not about the cones that they have in Swedish. So they live in northwest of USA, and the Sitka all the way up to Alaska. The spruce, the Sitka spruce, it prefers to live in wet areas, just like all spruce in the world. And while the Douglas fir, it can grow higher up in altitude, but it can't stand the wetness as much, but it can stand dry things. But what is the problem with a spruce then? They imported this Sitka spruce to Scotland and to the west of Sweden actually, where it can grow in very wet spaces. So similar climate as the northwest of USA, northwest of Canada and Alaska, or southwest of Alaska, southeast of Alaska, but on the west coast. So what happens? In Scotland it's a huge problem. They planted only spruce all over Scotland or in big areas, and you get this dense, not biodiverse forest. Here in Sweden they are not spreading. They were planted 200 years ago on the west coast, and they have a competitor here, the Swedish spruce. And with that I mean it's called the Norwegian spruce. In English, very stupid name, please change. And 40% of the tree mass in Sweden is spruce. You don't see it in my videos because I don't walk in spruce forests. They can be, if they are not managed, they will be total hell. They are dark, dense, and nothing grows there except spruce. So the strength of the spruce is that it can grow even if it only has 2% of sunlight. So it can basically grow in caves and stuff, or in a spruce forest. So nothing else, no pine, no, for example, no birch or aspen can survive in those forests. They outcompete everything else. So the Swedish spruce can handle the American spruces easily, and making a Douglas fir spread here is hard. We have like a few examples of them only. So now you know what happens if you leave forest alone here in Sweden. They will, if it's a wetland, it will turn into a dense forest that is totally unusable for even walking in. They become hell. So be warned of the spruce. We have fought them here in Sweden for millennia, and you have to cut them down and do other stuff to give some other trees or plants a chance. So I also saw an interesting, let's start with mountain ash. So that's an Eucalyptus regnans, Eucalyptus regnans, and it grows in Tasmania, 96 meters tall. That's one of the biggest trees in the world, and yeah, an interesting kind of big tree, but it's not the Swedish spruce that you saw in my video. They just happens to have the same name. It's not even the same kind of species. I saw an interesting video about a little lake in Quebec. So it's called Pingualuc. And it's a round lake, as it's a meteor that hit there, and it's totally clear, etc. But that lake is 200 kilometers south of here, but in Quebec on the other side. It's quite elevated, like half a kilometer above sea level. Here it's just 3 times less. So that might explain some of the coldness there. There you can't see one single tree. And here, as I have shown you, you can even see oaks. Oaks don't grow up here in Quebec. So the main reason of the difference is the trade winds that makes this place so warm that you can only see a little bit snow and no ice on the water yet due to the trade winds. I used Caltupo.com, Caltupo with C in the beginning, and it's very good if you want to just scroll with your pointer, and you can see how tall, high up altitude you are. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to switch it to meters, but maybe that's possible too. Calculating body parts, I'm not good at that. Chicago, they had a wokeness official that says that they will no longer buy any treasury bonds from the US Federation because the US Federation is fascist, yada yada. So that's putting politics over economics. But she's not wrong, she's just not executing it well. So the problem here is that they have to buy something else then, but maybe they can buy more local bonds, and the problem there is that they are not liquid enough. And Chicago is in big debt. So why on earth would, if you have a lot of debt, why would you buy and invest in bonds? That makes no sense. But of course, they have a very complicated reason why you have huge loans, but you still have to invest in other people's loans because of how the payments are done, yada yada. That's a scam. It's so complicated that, well, it can be explained, but you see that something is a scam here. So we can compare it to North Dakota. They have a central bank. Most people don't know that. So this bank, all the state agencies and then all the local governments and local companies and local banks, they are encouraged to use this central bank where they have to place all their investments, but on the other hand, then they also can borrow money cheaply for investments. And basically, Richard Werner would approve of this concept. It's of course socialist, it's state-owned bank, but it doesn't do any sales to you. They only make loans to people via the local small banks, just like Richard Werner is saying. So of course this socialism is very hurting for North Dakota. So they are only the best state in USA when it comes to economical growth. From 1994 to 2024, the economy in North Dakota has grown with 2,000 no, with 164%. So 2.5 times bigger economy now, more than 2.5 times bigger economy. And compare that to the neighboring state, Minnesota, 68%. You might say, but of course they have all this oil in North Dakota, but they have to invest in that. You don't get stuff for free. You have to invest and do it well. And if you don't have this local central bank that can do that, you become like Alaska, that I will talk about soon. And then you lose. Your economy will get effed up. But Mark Mitchell, you might not know the name, but you know Rasmussen Report. So that's, they are very, what should I say, MAGA kind of pollster, but they also do other reports, and they are, well, truthful. They don't do like most other pollsters that are totally faking their polls, except when their polls can be checked. Otherwise, they are very much making fool of themselves, and Rasmussen is making fun of their competition. Of course, that's their job. But Mark Mitchell is talking about what people think, which is what what he do, and he says that the Trump administration, they really need to do economic populism, not only fixing maybe central banks that are not criminal enterprises, and they have to really smash FBI, CIA, IRS, and this health insurance scam that is making Americans very poor, while the insurance companies have increased their market cap with like 10 times. So that's a bad system that needs to be smashed, and the Trump administration is not doing that, and they might crash and burn totally, as they are praying to Israel, the bankers, big pharma, big agro, big war, etc. Another thing that you might not like, Mr. Allied to Censorship Communists. I'm talking about Elon Musk, that is allied to Larry Ellison, the second most evil person in the world, maybe, or maybe the same person as Netanyahu. So anyway, Elon Musk is saying that solar power will be the vastly most used energy source on Earth. So everyone is still screaming, no, solar power can't power terawatt of AI centers, and Elon Musk says, yes, they can. You are wrong. And so far, Elon Musk has been right. So the last 12 months, 75% of the new installed terawatt hour producers, so the energy production, where did the increase come from? And it came from solar. So 75% of the new installed capacity for producing energy. Of course, it's not the energy value that's important. So maybe this solar power don't produce energy when it's mostly needed and the highest price. But generally where they install solar power, it's not producing like wind. Wind, for example, here in Sweden and in the Nordics, the wind will produce electricity when the electricity is almost free. So that doesn't work. I hope this recording is working. It didn't with the Swedish one yesterday. So here in Sweden we need to invest in something else, and that's fast. Otherwise we will be outcompeted with people, with places where you can get solar energy. We can get solar energy here, pretty cheap and a lot of it, but only during summer. we can get almost nothing. We are not spruces, so we don't survive the winter unless we can either transform this to long-term storage, or we can produce with nuclear power. We have, of course, hydro, maybe even wind. Maybe we can use storage of heat to even generate electricity. I've calculated about that, and it needs to be way cheaper even before thinking about it. And it's yeah, you can scale it up because there's a lot of ground. So if you want to store heat, yeah, of course you can do that, but it needs to be big. But something to think about. And we do not want to be like Alaska. So Alaska, during these 25 years, they have only grown 39% compared to North Dakota, 164%. So if you think, why don't Alaska build out their hydro dams, their oil, their gas, other things that they can just develop without destroying the environment too much? But they have a worse banking system. That might be one of the reasons. And Alaska was actually really rich in the end of the 90s. That might be another reason. Jewish Insider, the horrible publication, they are now screaming about Mr. Allied to Censorship Communist, about Elon Musk. He is creating incentives for the far right, bigoted, horrible people to be antiseptic. Yeah, antisepticism is increasing because people don't like, bugs and parasites. So that's bad. So you can understand that what is happening on X is not really only Elon Musk's fault. There is a huge pressure on him. And Elon Musk did repost a critical post that said what a lovely person. And the post that was criticized was, whites don't deserve a homeland. They have terrorized the planets forever. They should be enslaved and raped to death. And Elon Musk reposted the critique of that. Of course, there was someone that noticed that this person looked white. Then he got an explanation about Loxism, that is a Jewish hate for white people, and how Jews say, I can criticize white people with a small w because I'm also white. And then people say, you're also white. No, I'm Jewish. So they are not white with a big W, because that's even acknowledged that is a thing. But they are a thing, and everything they want to genocide, that is not a thing. So good that Elon Musk is indirectly educating people about this behavior that works, unless it's pointed out every damn time that you should just shut up and you are a ridiculous lying piece of garbage. So I made a meme, boycott X until Larry Ellison is isolated. So he has control over 25%, not him personally, but with allies, according to Grok. Elon Musk has the majority of XAI. So in some theory, Elon Musk controls everything. But if you have control of this big part, you can put your people into the company, and you can infiltrate and do stuff like deleting my Premium Plus account. And if Elon Musk don't know about me, indirectly at least, then they get away with it as the criminal gangsters that they are. So until Larry Ellison, we need to isolate him so that he can't do stuff like this anymore. He and his gang. I don't think he's personally involved. It's just the general mentality of all his, the mob, basically. Someone made a little meme about that they wanted a mute button for entire Israel. All Israelis get muted. And of course that will not happen as long as Larry Ellison has anything to say about anything. And this was a response to that. There are no notifications. A lot of notifications are disappearing on X. And that bug has led to that people critical of Israel, they are suddenly getting a lot less views, according to Brandon Taylor Moore. Of course, what do you think that the Zionist Hasbara accounts? So we have one mascot, he's an Indian called Vivid with a flag of Israel, that's his name, and he's an Indian dumb Zionist. And he says that these pro-Palestine bots from all the Gaza data centers that are spewing out this total attack on the Israeli Oracle kind of data centers. They are beaten by Hamas data centers. And Vivid says that this is sick and he wants to get rid of all people like me that are accused for being a bot. So you see the difference here. The anti-Israel side, they just want to mute the garbage that this Hasbara accounts like Vivid is spewing. So he will not be blocked, he's from India, but people like him from Israel, or Israelis in India, or Israelis in USA, just muted compared to deleting us like the genocidal Zionists want to do. Fetterman got some ventricular fibrillation and had to visit some hospital. He's okay-ish, but this Zionism and vaccine madness, and maybe he got Ozempic after they had this Ozempic event when someone was fainting in the Blue Office after trying to sell Ozempic to the people. Why do they do that? All these promotions of big pharma and big agro, there are a lot of things seems to be sabotaged. One main suspect is Susie Viles. Susie Viles? Viles? Let's call her Viles because she's vile, but Viles. She's the chief of staff, and I listened to Redacted News and Health Ranger, and they blame her. So whilst she was the campaign manager for Bibi Netanyahu, he lost a lot of people, Netanyahu did, because he was so corrupt, so they refused to work for him. She didn't, she loved that, and has worked for Big Pharma and Big Agro, defending all poisoning of humankind. And still, she's in the administration. So I try to not learn everyone in the administration, but you see Zionists everywhere. But are they really in power? It looks like that here. But it would be a good idea, if you want to crush the Zionists, that you simply appoint them at the top of everything, and then they don't realize that all the underlings are your people or our people, and they don't obey. And of course you have seen this everywhere in the other direction, that you have an honest guy at the top that is not in charge and the underlings are doing all the things and are the ones in real power. So it should be possible to do in the other direction, and then the cabal will not know what was just hitting them. So maybe if you are some sort of Hasbara account, I will trick you into supporting me, and you will think that you are infiltrating me while I am just using you as a cover to think that I'm to make the mafia think that I'm infiltrated. Maybe that's a good idea. We'll see. Drogo, some account on X, is pointing out what I did yesterday, that this pardon that Bibi Netanyahu was wished to have from Trump in his letter to Herzog. Yeah, that's not good for Netanyahu. The opposition is using this and saying he's totally guilty, and he also did October the 7th. That's the Israeli opposition, but blaming the prime minister for doing the biggest terror attack lately in Israel. On the other hand, there was a real possible and done pardon by Trump. Joe Lewis he is a Jewish billionaire. He was convicted for insider trading, and now he doesn't have to spend more time in prison. He's 88 years old, and his company have paid huge fines. I don't see this as a problem, actually. Let the old man out, and we can focus on something else, like a cool car, for example. And then someone asked me of the link to the 4-hour documentary about 9/11, where you have the hundreds of Israeli spies that got deported afterwards, and a van with explosives in, etc. So I have put it again on my Substack if someone for some reason wants it again. If you are interested in old mysteries and maybe possible other timelines and how they are hiding technology, but you just want to know stuff, not having some crazy theories, I will recommend Medieval Wisdom, that explains some mysteries, but also a lot of technologies that were used, can be used maybe now together with modern technology, AI, etc., that make them profitable again. There are things like the gauntlet gun, that is a machine gun, very heavy with 6 pipes, and you have to crank it so you can get bum, bum, bum. Not really good. So the Maxim gun that was just 1 barrel, but shoot much faster and automatically, came to rule the First World War. But this Gatling gun, when you have electrical motors, then you can spray some bullets very hard. So new technology might make old wisdom useful again. So if you want to invent stuff, remove, invent and build, Medieval Wisdom is a good channel on YouTube. So a little bit south, I called, Merz and Tusk are fighting with each other because of this Nord Stream, and they are accusing each other for destroying their relation with each other. I call them dumb sub-Baltic buffoons. Dumb sub-Baltic buffoons. That's what they are. Have UK ever tried to make Germans and Polish people fight each other? 1939 and every damn time before. Great Britain and England have tried to make Germans and Poles fight with each other forever. That's just what they do, and these dumb sub-Baltic buffoons should know that UK did Nord Stream, and we have the submarine that did it, the team that did it, and with that you can till salu, for sale in Swedish. If you want to buy a little bit of a little flat here in Sweden, in Ljusdal. But with that, have a nice Friday.